Today I'm speaking with Lisa M MacKenzie. She runs a health and wellness lifestyle company in which she helps people to overcome health issues with organic natural products to eliminate toxins in their bodies and homes, and to support American-made products, as well as mentoring people in her industry to find their own individual version of success. I like that. And welcome, Lisa.
Thank you, Jen. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me today.
Okay. I wanted to do that because I've always wanted to do that, to read the bio, but I just always get so nervous, I just jump into it. So thank you.
It helps everybody understand who they're about to
All
listen
right,
to.
So, right, and what we're going to hear. And lots of interesting stuff. And this is a show for solo moms, we can cover, as much as, the time allows. So, I'm good. I should also mention that Lisa is a solo mom. And as I do with all my guests, I'm going to ask Lisa, when you were a solo mom, how did that happen? What happened?
Yeah, so I actually have been a solo mom since my children were age 2 and 5 years old. And I'm always very transparent about this. And that is that when I chose the man that I married, I chose from a business decision. I had accomplished a lot of goals in my life. And the one thing I hadn't accomplished was to have children. So I chose somebody that fit really well right there, but he probably wasn't the best person for me to be married to, quite honestly. So predictably, our marriage ended when my children were quite young. And a lot of it was around, we just had not established the foundation and come to terms with what our life would look like once we had a family. So once the children, were around, we had very differing views of what that should look like. So my children's father was not very present in their lives when they were quite young. And then unfortunately, he passed away when they were just a little bit older, at the ages of 7 and 10. And so I actually really, truly have been a solo mom for my children's entire lives. And for those of you women that are in this situation, and maybe your children are very young, I can tell you, my children are now 19 years old and 22 years old. And we've been a little threesome for all of that time, and they've turned out really well, and they're really happy. So anyone can do this. I think when we're in this situation of being alone, whether you have a partner or another parent that co-parents with you, or whatever your situation is, I think one of the things that we as women do is feel like we're not doing enough. Or we're not doing well enough with it. And I just want to assure everyone here that you're probably doing 1,000 times better job of raising your children than you think you are, because the biggest thing is just to let them know you love them.
Yeah, that's so true. But it's so difficult, right? I mean, we all struggle with that one thing.
Yes.
Even now, my youngest is like 25. I still wonder, where did I go wrong?
Yes, we do the best we can, for sure.
Yeah, a constant battle. So tell me, what has been your biggest struggle raising your children basically alone? And, so what did that look like? That big one thing that really stuck out for you as a struggle?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, Jen, has been anytime that it came to making significant decisions. And that might have been significant decisions about health. It might have been, about their schooling. It might have been about medical issues. It might have been about financial issues. It might have been about discipline when they didn't do what they were supposed to do. But decision making was really the biggest challenge for me, because when you are this only person making really, really big decisions, it's a huge responsibility. And to not have somebody, and of course we all have parents, brothers and sisters, friends, other people that we can consult with about our decisions, but none of those people are as invested in what's in the best interest of your children as you, as their parent, is. And so just that moment at times where I had to go, well, I'm all I got here and I got to go with my gut. That really probably was the biggest struggle and challenge for me.
Yeah, I can see that. It's a scary thing, to know that the responsibility lies on you and you don't have that trust in yourself that you're making the right decision. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand that. Yeah. Okay. So what brought you to, we're going to talk about your career and what you do for yourself as well as for others. What brought you to, let's say, thinking about organic, natural, not just food, but our environment on a whole?
Yeah.
What brought you to
That's
that?
it's been a bit of a journey for me. And a
Okay.
lot of it really was around just getting educated and, starting to learn about how to best take care of myself. Because when you are a solo mom, you want to be very, very conscious of your health, making sure that
Mm-hmm.
you're around for your children's lives and long term, and also that you're able to keep up with them and, spend time with them and do all the things that they love to do. And so health has always been really, really important to me. And, there came a time in my life where I really wanted to make sure that I was creating the most healthy self that I could, as well as giving
Mm-hmm.
that gift to my children. So my journey really started out with learning about foods. And, my children, when they were young, and I do not say this to make anyone feel guilty whatsoever, but my children didn't ever really experience fast food, for example. My daughter was 4 years old, and we were driving down the road one day, and we passed a McDonald's, and she said, "Oh, look, Mommy, it's the Play-Doh store." Because somebody had given her as a gift a McDonald's Play-Doh set where you made, McDonald's French fries and things out of Play-Doh. And so my children just were never really exposed to processed foods or fast foods and things like that. Just because I believe that what we put in our bodies is how we really care for ourselves, and trying our
Mm-hmm.
best to take in, whole, unprocessed, organic foods is really, really important. So that kind of started my journey, and it's something that I've been passionate about since both my children were very, very young. Then I started getting a little more familiar with what you put on your body. So making sure that the products that we're using, shampoos, soaps, lotions, skincare, cosmetics, were free of, chemicals and some of the things that can not only harm our skin, but harm the environment. And, it's
Mm-hmm.
amazing how many times you talk to people and they say they have sensitive skin. And I used to think I
Yeah.
had sensitive skin too, until I learned that what was causing the sensitivity was the chemicals I was putting on my skin.
Mm-hmm.
So once I started switching to natural, organic products that I put on myself, my skin suddenly got a lot better. And then I even took it a step further as I started to learn about the very products that we have in our homes, because of course the things we put on our bodies include soaps, lotions, shampoos, that sort of thing. But the things
Yeah.
that we have in our homes that we're using to take care of our homes are actually also very toxic to us and loaded with chemicals. And one of the things
Mm-hmm.
that I found very scary about that is that this is an industry that is not regulated. So there are no federal regulations or state regulations around what these manufacturers can put into their products. There's also
Yeah.
no regulation around disclosure. So unless somebody, has like a chemistry degree, they don't really know when they read the ingredients of some of these products that it's literally poison. And so
Yes.
while it's important to care for what goes in our body and on our body, if we're surrounding ourselves with toxins, then we're also creating dangers for ourselves. And so
Right.
I have,
Right.
really shifted to a completely toxin-free environment in my home with respect to household cleaners, detergents, dish detergents, as well as all of the products that we use, personal care products, and even most of the foods that are in our home are, designed to be completely natural and toxin free. And that makes me, I feel like I'm doing the absolute best I can do, and giving my family a good start anyway, a good foundation.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like a three-prong approach, right? To
Yeah,
health,
yeah,
really. Yeah. Oh,
absolutely.
great stuff. And do
Yeah.
you teach others how to do that, or is it something you personally um,
Yeah.
are involved in?
Jen, I spend most of my life talking to other people about this and the importance of it. And a lot of it really is
Okay.
education. Most
Mm-hmm.
people just aren't aware that, these things are in these products. And so that's why, again, I never want anybody
Yeah.
to feel like they've done something bad. We don't. And the reason we don't
Right.
know is because the manufacturers of these products don't want us to know. They don't want us to know what chemicals they're adding to our foods. They don't want us to know what chemicals they're adding to our household products because they are all, intertwined with each other. And unfortunately, when
Mm-hmm.
disease results from these things that go into our bodies and around us, then these same companies benefit through the
More
medicines and
chemicals.
medications that more chemicals that the pharmaceutical companies give them to quote unquote get
Yep.
better. And it's just kind of a rolling stone. So my passion really is talking with people about this, helping them understand. And then obviously people make the choices for themselves. I would
Yes.
never want anyone to feel, badly that they make other choices, but I do think it's important that people understand the reality of what's
Yes.
around us. I find that most people, when they understand it, definitely want to make a change and make a difference. And there are many
Yes,
ways to
that's
do
true.
that are cost effective. People say, oh, I can't afford to do this. I can't afford to do that. There really are many ways to do it that are quite cost effective.
Yes. There are many ways to do it, and that's something. It's a matter of priority, I think. When it comes to buying stuff, it's a matter of priority. What is more important to you? And I think that's how you should make your choice once you're educated about that.
Yes,
Wouldn't you
you're
agree? Yeah.
100% right. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, sure. And thank you for sharing that with us. And switching gears, one of the topics that get me a little excited sometimes is about leaving your job. I saw that and I thought, that sounds very interesting to me as someone who think about corporate America a lot. And so I have a question for you. What
Sure.
made you leave corporate America and what kept you from going back?
Yeah. This is one of my favorite topics, Jen. um,
Okay, cool.
Leaving corporate America, believe it or not, was not 100% my choice. I had a very successful career. I was the vice president of sales and marketing for a company in the consumer goods industry, the very industry that I now realize is poisoning so many of us. And I loved my job. When my daughter was born, which everybody now knows was 22 years ago, when my daughter was born, I traveled 5 days a week in my career. And after my daughter was born, I realized pretty quickly that I was not going to want to or really be able to be traveling 5 days a week. So maternity leave for about 6 weeks, I just came to terms with the fact that this wasn't going to work for me. So I went to the company that I worked for and I made a proposal. And the proposal essentially was that I step back from my role into a role that would keep me in a regional office. I came with a proposal in which I would help to find my replacement for my job and, really work with them to make sure that this was done seamlessly. And they didn't like that idea so much so that they told me that I clearly wasn't committed to the company and they just went ahead and terminated me. So,
Wow.
so I suddenly found myself unemployed. Now, of course, I'm sure there are lots of well-educated women listening that realize you can't really do that. So we did get all the details worked out there. So it wasn't a horrible ending. And after that, I simply never wanted to go back to corporate America in any way, shape, or form. I got a little bored about 2 months or 3 months in, and I started my own business, my first business of my own, my first entrepreneurial endeavor. That was a fitness business specifically for new moms. And I lived in Chicago at the time. So new mothers with little babies would come, bring their babies in their strollers. And we had about 8 locations throughout the city of Chicago where we would do a fitness routine that incorporated the babies in the strollers. And my mission there, my passion has always been helping people. My mission there was to help women like myself who had, this new role in life and who were struggling, whether it was physically, mentally, emotionally, or in their careers, to give them an outlet. And I absolutely loved what I did with that business. And that was the beginning of
Yeah,
my
that sounds like fun.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
never looked back. I just, I loved being able to call my own shots. I'm a creator. I love building things. I love creating things. I love designing things that will help people. This was also the beginning of my journey to understanding the importance of natural, organic, chemical-free foods and products, because I started to really understand what was in some of the food products and what was best for people as I, and went down this journey of helping women achieve a level of fitness, mental, emotional, and physical fitness after the births of their children. And since then, I've
Yeah.
started and grown probably 8 different businesses, and just had a great time with all of them, because that's what I love. I love creating and doing things that will help people.
Right. Right. And you look like you're enjoying your life now. And sometimes it takes a kick in the pants, like I like to say, for us to
Yes.
actually realize our full potential, because we kind of hold on, to what we have now.
Yeah, that is
So,
absolutely right, Jen. And it's
yeah.
interesting because I think right now what happened to me in a very small scale is happening to a lot of people in the world. Not those specific
Mm-hmm.
circumstances, but there is this phenomenon that I've been studying quite carefully of people leaving the United States workforce. About
Yeah.
5% of our workforce, or 20 million people, have left their jobs since May of this year, 2021. And the reason is because of these things. People discovered during COVID that they liked working from home. Now they're not allowed to
Mm-hmm.
work from home. They might have to go back to the workforce. And a lot of people don't care
Mm-hmm.
for being told what to do in the workforce, being told what to wear,
Yes.
what hours to come, these sorts of things. Many people, unfortunately, are being told that they must be vaccinated to come back to work. And some people don't agree with that. So there is
Mm-hmm.
this phenomenon of people wanting to create a life for themselves that their values and their family, just as I
Yes.
did 22 years ago, and their employers
Yeah.
basically saying, no, can't do it. And so people are making the choice to leave. And,
Yes.
I think the number one thing that keeps people from making that choice to leave is fear. And
Yeah.
it's a reasonable, rational fear. And for someone to overcome that fear is a massive, massive step.
Yes, that's true. And I think a lot of the reasons people are leaving as well, apart from the purpose driven desires, is that I think a lot of people are realizing that the ton of money that we're told we need to buy stuff, to keep this cycle going, is not necessary. That you could live a fulfilled life on less than you were told you needed. And I think
Yes.
that's one of the big things too.
Yes, that's a very, very
Yeah.
big thing. I believe that one of the greatest lessons that has come out of the last, goodness, going on 2 years of this pandemic is that many, many things that we were told had to be a certain way don't have to be that.
Yes.
We
Yep.
are seeing it in so many ways and shapes and forms, and I think people are really picking up on that. People are also realizing that there are many, many ways to earn money. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
going in, driving to an office and spending 8 or 10 hours of your day engrossed in that job. That's not the only way to earn money. There's so many ways for people to earn money. And I think that people
Yes.
are becoming more aware of those. And heck, if you can do it while watching a movie with your children, why not?
Why not? That's what I say. Yeah, it's great stuff. Thank you. And we're going to move on to your next skill, experience. I'm looking for the word, but I can't find it. I guess because you've created so many businesses, you have the knowledge and expertise. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
To talk to us, women, single women, women with children, how to run our business, how to start, different strategies to use. So what's your number one tip for someone like us in a business?
Yeah. My number one tip for someone either looking to start a business, or maybe you've started one and it's not quite fulfilling you, is to follow your passion. Sometimes it takes a little time to find what you're really passionate about in life, But once you
Yes.
find your passion, if you start to follow it, whatever you do will be tremendously successful. For
Yeah.
me, it's helping people. For some people, it's educating about a certain thing. For some people, it's money, and that's okay. I never want anyone to feel like
Mm-hmm.
it can't be money, but find your passion and start to follow your passion. And that's really, really key. There are some logistical things that are important to do if you're starting your own business. One, of course, is
Mm-hmm.
financial. You've got to be responsible and make sure that you can cover your bills with what you're going to do. I actually had this
Right.
conversation with someone the other day who wanted to know how she could leave her job. And so we talked about finances and how much money she had set aside and what her monthly expenses were. And I like for people to try to have a cushion of 6 months of their monthly household expenses set aside before they make their decision to
Mm-hmm.
leave their job and start a business. As you mentioned earlier, there are many ways that people can find to reduce their living expenses. There's a lot of things
Mm-hmm.
we think we need that we don't need and we can do without. There are
Right.
also a lot of ways to save money. And, again, some of the things we've talked about will actually save people money. I love that the way that I purchase all the products for my house keeps me from having to go to Target or Walmart where we inevitably spend twice as much as we intended to spend going in.
Mm-hmm.
So there's lots of ways people can do that. So I think that the emotional part of stepping out to start your own business is really getting to the core of your passion. The secondary part is logistically make sure that you can keep the bills paid while you're in the process of getting something started.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you very much. And how can someone get in touch with you should they need your service?
Yeah, I would love to connect with people. You can find me on social media on Facebook and on Instagram. Lisa MacKenzie is my name on both. My link tree is Lisa MacKenzie Live, Live. So if you go to Linktree Lisa MacKenzie Live, that'll take you to a great little guide on top 10 ways you can make your home toxin free. That's a free guide that
Okay.
people can request from me. There's also a quick form questionnaire that people can fill out if they'd like to schedule a session with me to talk a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
about whatever it is they want to do, whether it's cleaning up their food or their life or their house or going into business for themselves. I love to help people with that. So those are some ways that people can get in touch with me, and I'd love to hear from them.
Yeah, that would be great. And I'll put those all those links in the show notes so they can get it from the podcast as well. All right. So what is Lisa grateful for today?
Oh, Jen, every day I wake up and I start with three things that I'm grateful for. Today it's having my family at home with me. Both of my children are home. My son goes to school in another state. My daughter has started her own life. They're both home with me for the holidays, and I'm very, very grateful for that. As well as I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to impact lives. I had 3 people this morning reach out to me to share with me how something that we've been working on together had changed their lives in a magnificently wonderful way. And that it fills my heart with gratitude when that happens.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you for sharing. And thank
Yeah.
you for coming and talking to me today. I always enjoy talking to ladies who are doing lots of good things in the world. So thank
It
you.
has been my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to continuing to connect with you.
Sure, definitely.